Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Russell Does Stuff. My name is Russell, and I work 6 hours on Monday, 6 hours on Tuesday, and whenever I don't get finished up, I'll take care of Wednesday morning. This is Wednesday, so I had to put in about 2 hours. I had a lot of detail work to do, so I took my time in this heat and tried to be as relaxed as I possibly could while I accomplished the tasks that I had to take care of. And that puts me ahead for next week. So sometimes the more you do when you're on a property, the less you have to do the next week. I have a rule of thumb where I have a hard week and easy week, but the rain and Mother Nature screws that stuff up for me all the time. So I don't have a choice in the matter sometimes. So I want to talk about money. This video is about money. And I wrote down a whole bunch of things here. I don't like to write, so none of my videos are scripted, okay? If I try to write down the thoughts that I'm having in my head, there's no way I can write them down fast enough, and then before I know it, the thoughts are gone, okay? I've always been that way. I don't like to write. I don't like to read either. I've only read a few books in my life. I didn't do good in school. I didn't graduate high school. I have no college education. I've been a laborer my whole life. And I'm going to pay for it when I'm older. I know that these aches and pains that I have are going to multiply. And that's just the way it is. Sometimes you will sacrifice life for your dreams. You'll sacrifice your body for your dreams. My motto was I was going to pay my house off and be debt-free and financially independent if it killed me. And I thought at sometimes I was out there in the field working, say August 15th, I thought I'm going to drop dead right here where I'm standing. But I didn't. I'm right here in my easy chair with my boy Wayne. We got some thunder and lightning outside, and he's on high alert. He's a rescue dog who wasn't treated very well by people, and we take good care of him here. So this video, like I just said, is about money. How to make money. It's a good question. There's a lot of ways to make money. The best way to make money is to start or do something you have a skill in, okay? Most people will start a business that has something to do with their hobby. I like to buy and sell baseball cards. It is hard to make money buying and selling baseball cards. You have to time the market. You have to pay attention to the prospects. You have to pay attention to who's hitting home runs. You have to pay attention to who's collecting who. And I used to have some inside information at one time from a high school kid. He would text me all the time, buy so-and-so, get so-and-so. And with some of his help and my research and stuff, you can make money buying and selling baseball cards. I, for myself personally, would not turn that into a business. I do not like the word overhead. So I use Jeeps and baseball cards, etc., as a side hustle. It's fun. It's doing something different that I'm doing in my business. It's a break from the over and over and over and over and overness of the business that I'm in. I started this business that paid this house off and everything I own off with $100. And I had to wait 3 months after I completed that job to get paid for that $100. Okay. That was one of the 5 phone calls that I made. I landed a customer over the phone. They gave me a shot. And the first job I did for them was $100. I had to wait 3 months for it. I made money by dialing for dollars. The more phone calls I made, the more customers I got. I started asking those customers what they needed. Well, you mow lawns. Well, no, I do other things too. What type of problems do you have? It's a great way of making money. Have you ever asked somebody, do you have any problems? And I'm not talking relationship problems and stuff, or being behind on your bills problems and stuff. When you're calling a business and you're talking to business people, 100% of the time they have problems they're trying to solve. I caught on to that real quick. I would do a cleanup for a customer, and they would stop by to check on me or call me or whatever. Is there anything else you need? Well, as a matter of fact, there is. Do you know anybody that pressure washes? Do you know anybody that cleans windows? When you're starting out in business, you need to say yes to a bunch of things. I didn't start out to be in the lawn mowing business. I kind of got funneled in to that because that's what these people needed more than painting and their fence repaired and pressure washing. They needed somebody that they could count on to take care of these properties for them in between renters, before it went on the market, even after it was sold. I was being recommended to the new owners. It was overwhelming. It's a lot of work. But guess what? It paid every single month. Somebody was sending me a check. I figured out a way to make money. And then the neighbor would come up and say, hi, I see you're working over here. Can you give me an estimate? I'd tell him as soon as I'm done with this account, I'll walk over. The next thing you know, I've doubled what I'm making on that street. I found a way to make money. When you compound that with speaking to people that you run into during the day, you will get more customers. I've repeated this a few times in other videos. If you're at church and somebody asks you what you do for a living, I mow lawns. And I shut up and I listen. I'm looking for people who have a problem. And I built my business from those who had problems and they needed them solved. I want to solve their problems in exchange for money. And when you solve somebody's problem and you do a good job for them, they will recommend you. That's how you make money. Other people now are putting your name out there. I had a phone call today from a customer I worked for the other day. I saw her name come up on my phone. And it was a nice sized paragraph message in text form. And sometimes I can be overwhelmingly negative and not positive. And I thought, oh, she's not happy with something. Well, no. The real estate agent went out there. Nothing was mentioned about the job I did, which is good. Don't go borrowing trouble. No news is good news, that type of deal. The real estate agent was trying to sell more work for me. So now another avenue for making money has been opened up. She would like some more trimming done on the oak tree, which is really easy to do. And I'm going to make more money because of the good job that I did, and then the fact that I'm solving someone's problem for them. The real estate agent has convinced the owner of this house that if I trim a few more branches over the house, it will solve a problem. I'm not going to argue with them. I, in my professional opinion, don't feel that it's a problem. I've learned not to argue with people. If they want something done, don't argue with them. If you're going to rip them off or they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, like you shouldn't be planting plants in the ground this time of the year because it's the hottest time of the summer and we're getting the most rain, try to instruct them in the best way possible. Example, I have a customer. He's turned his house into an Airbnb. And I made some suggestions to him concerning some of the things around the house that could cause a problem and a liability issue for him. He added lights to the walkway down to the pool, from the pool to the boat dock, and did a few other things around the fire pit area, etc. And I'm working with my customer to solve a problem that he may have in the future, which is somebody could possibly trip and fall or get hurt on one of his on his property. And he thanked me for that. He's so busy doing other things that he overlooked some of these issues. Okay. When I had a cabinet business, I was solving problems. I made so much money from customers coming in and saying, my kitchen is an odd dimension, and knockdown cabinets and prefab cabinets just won't work. They won't fill in the gap. The fillers are going to be wide and look funny. I need custom cabinets. I was solving problems. I was building closets for these people. I was in the cabinet business, but I found out that pantries and entertainment centers were just boxes with detail on them. So I'm doing cabinets and pivoted into closet systems, entertainment systems, pantries, built-ins. Who would have thought? People came in with problems. And if you can solve their problems, I know I like to repeat myself. You can make money by solving someone's problem. My dad was in a bank in the 70s to withdraw money or take money out. I don't know. It was probably to pay for a bounce check or something that he had. And he noticed a problem on the windows. The blinds were broken. He went up to the bank manager and he said, "Hey, I noticed your blinds are broken." She said, "Yes, we haven't been able to find anybody to fix them, and we've been looking for quite some time." My dad said, "Well, I can fix them for you." He started a business out of thin air by solving somebody's problem. That business paid for his bills and his house and his vehicles and his food from asking a question. he solved a problem for somebody. When you solve a problem for somebody, and they'll never forget you. I have real estate agents calling me all the time with their problems because they know that I can solve them for them. But I've retired now to 13 hours a week, and I'm saying no to a lot of their requests, and I'm trying to find other people to do the work for them. I'm not gonna do this type of work until I'm 80. Everybody's dying. Ozzy, Hulk, 20 years from now, that could be it. Very, 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 very interesting how problem solving can lead to money. And that's how you make money. What else have I written down here? The branch manager of a bank. I was doing 5 banks. She couldn't find somebody to pressure wash the teller lanes in the building and the roof. She threw a Hail Mary email out to me and asked me if I knew how to pressure wash. I know how to pressure wash. And if I don't know how to pressure wash, she's not going to know that I'm going to go home and I'm going to practice around my house and I'm going to learn how to pressure wash. Now you have YouTube. You can watch videos on how to do things. You have an advantage now. I didn't have that advantage back then. I had a flip phone. I didn't have computers and stuff. All my invoices were handwritten and mailed. I went and bought a pressure washer. I made $10,000 pressure washing. That's how I make money. If you ask somebody if they need anything else and they want, say, the tiles on their roof fixed, and that's kind of out of your league, your wheelhouse, it's okay to say no. You don't have to say yes to everything. You have no idea what problems these people might have when you ask them. You might just be able to solve their problems. You never know. But don't be afraid to say no. And I've said no before. I've had a customer, they wanted a really dangerous tree removed. Sorry, I don't know how to do that. Do you know anybody that knows how to do that? No. It's okay to say no, and no is in the dictionary. So for the next 8 years, the manager of this bank relied on me to pressure wash their locations. When I had some employees that were a little younger than me, I had them doing some of the more death-defying pressure washing jobs, and I was ground support and stuff, which is a nice thing. When you get older and you get some young bucks working for you, you can let them experience the fun side of work. How to make money. I make a lot of money in my neighborhood. I've never advertised. Somebody approached me years ago. They had a problem. My mower broke. I'm unable to mow my lawn. The next thing you know, I'm going out of town. Can you mow my lawn? I'm going out of town. Can you mow my lawn? My mom's laid up for 6 months. The next thing you know, I'm mowing about $10,000 to $12,000 worth of work in less than a half a mile from my house. My gas gauge doesn't even go down. I'm out at night walking the dogs, and I say hello to somebody. How are you doing? You strike up a conversation with them. I got a large account with a large lumber company because I let that person know what I did for a living. Yeah, I'm in the landscaping and lawn. I do lawn mate. Oh, you do? Oh, we're looking for somebody. You never know when lightning's going to strike. I bid that account high. I made a lot of money on that account. I did a lot of landscape for that account. All because I said what I did to this person and got him thinking. Out walking around with the dogs. I got another customer from a conversation. I called a friend of mine up that I used to do air conditioning with. He asked me how I was doing, what I was up to. Said I started a lawn landscaping business. You know what he gave me? An opportunity of a lifetime. He said to me, I want you to give me an estimate on this big neighborhood. It was in an association. I said, all right, I'll go out and look at it. It was massive, out of my wheelhouse, trust me. I asked him, what do you think I should bid on this? He says, well, this is this number and that number, but we really want you to do it, okay? It was real interesting how where people, if they trust and like you and can count on you, they'll want you to work for them. So I gave them an estimate. They accepted my estimate. I worked for them for 11 years. Never missed a day. Always did what I was supposed to do because they trusted me and I didn't want to lose that trust with them. I made a lot of money on that account. It took me 6 or 7 hours when I first started to do it. And then as I got better and I got newer and better equipment, I could do that account in an hour and a half. I could do that account in the wintertime, believe it or not, in 30 minutes. What took me 6 to 7 hours to do, I got good at. And with the extra work, the landscaping, that was some good money. I sold that account and I no longer have to do it because I'm retired. And if you're going to retire, retire. Don't stick your toe in the water and pull it out and put it in. Do it, okay? You're never going to know what it's like unless you commit. Michael Jordan always said once he made his mind up with something, he never changed it, okay? That's good food for thought. Do I miss that account? It was a lot of work. You know, it was probably 35 minutes to get there and 35 minutes to get back. Never had one complaint during the 11 years or so I worked there. And I'm proud of that. What else did I do for them? I did a lot of other extra work for that account. If she had a problem and she couldn't figure it out, she would call me. I remember we did a bunch of prep work for a concrete slab. We did all sorts of stuff. And it was interesting when you bill for that account that month, you would put extra work that had really nothing to do with what you were doing. And it was neat. And it added up at the end of the year. All because I did what? Solved problems. She would call me up, the association manager, and I would go to some of the residents and do trash removal and this request and that request because they couldn't find anybody else to do it. And I would say yes to that. And that's how I made money. Lots of money by finding and solving people's problems. And now I'm sitting here in my chair, sipping a cold Coors Light. I have tomorrow off, the next day off, the next day off, the next day off, the next day off. Proper planning beats poor performance every single time. And I appreciate every single one of you for dropping in and watching these videos. This is real. None of it's made up. If I ever get invited to go on a podcast or something, I have my tax returns. I'm not a guru. I'm not making any of this stuff up to get likes or subscribers. I'm just trying to show everybody a look into what I've accomplished over the last 14 years. It takes about 8 years, to get your business built up into where it's running on autopilot and stuff. Business is not for everyone. But if you work at it, it can be rewarding. Well, I'm going to end the video right now. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. And if you like this kind of stuff, hit the like and subscribe button if you want. If it's not your kind of thing and you're just passing through, I appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next one.